Chuck, and thanks for ordering the good weather. It's good to see some familiar faces. I was here years ago, and it's so fun to see the momentum and what you built here at Angel Fest. Really, really cool. And it's my honor to interview Chuck here. And I was reflecting, we met at EY's Entrepreneur of the Year program. I know I've seen some familiar faces too from that program here, but and I was thinking back in my files and realized it was 7 years ago, and I can't believe it. Lots happened since then, obviously, with your business and world around us. So I just wanted to also just say, when I did the interview for Chuck's Entrepreneur of the Year award with co-founder Dave Mortensen, I was left impressed with what he built, but even more so how he built it. And I know we'll get into that a little bit about the leadership, the culture you built, but I wanted to just also say, as I reflected, I've never even told this. That interview actually changed the way I just about leading people, treating them, as innovators, not headcount and cost setters. And so I really reflected on that through the years. And so thank you for your inspiration 7 years ago. And I wanted to just start out at the beginning. Just I know probably everyone's familiar with your story, but just a little bit of a double click into the aha. When you started Anytime Fitness, what was it that gave you that spark, that motivation, and you thought this could work? And I'll just you can ground us in that at the beginnings.
Awesome, thank you. Good morning, everybody. First, I'm a lifelong Minnesotan. I've been born on the east side of St. Paul. I love this state. I love the Four Seasons, and I love meeting global visitors to our campus in Woodbury and kind of showing off how beautiful, wonderful the state of Minnesota is. I was going to a little bit of a community college, and I left to go start working in health work. So I've only got a high school degree. I've never finished college. We have no formal training for this. But we were just very, very obsessed with, trying to help people get healthier and trying to make gyms profitable. And so we were doing a marketing campaign in the 90s. We bought some distressed clubs, and we used to hold like racket clubs that had pools, saunas, multi-sport. And it was during the ownership of those clubs, we realized that a lot of this overhead was really underutilized. People are not playing racquetball much anymore. They're not playing pools. They're now swimming in the run. And daycare was doing very well. We saw people come in every day just use the weights, the Nautilus, the cardiovascular equipment. So we kept thinking about an express club. Like, how do we take out the stuff that people use the most? And so we kept talking about it. And at the same time, we're doing a marketing campaign. We had a company that did membership lists for health clubs around the country, as well as Canada and Australia, where we'd send a team to do a big membership list. So I went to go visit one of our teams down in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And we're doing a membership list. We're very successful. And this small town club was literally giving out hardware kits to his members. And people could go work out whenever they wanted. And I remember walking out, we were being successful. I remember walking out the parking lot, calling my two partners at the time and saying, this is the differentiator, right? To enable members to come in on their schedule, not ours, and eliminate payroll, which in our big box stores is 44%. And Anytime Fitness, it can be like 10%. So we immediately got to work on a technology system. And think about 2002, it's a long time ago, right? I mean, technology was vastly different. So we were really the first technology-enabled fitness brand out there, utilizing 24/7 surveillance and access to allow people to get into the club, right? It used to be a key fob. Today, now it's your mobile phone. And today, we have maybe the largest access system in the world. Nearly 6,000 locations around the world in 50 countries. Your phone opens up every door in the world to give your local membership gets you access to the entire network. So we started doing that in 2002. The technology doesn't seem that special today, but it was back then. Members got 24/7 access, and visit whenever they want. The operations, payroll went significantly lower. And again, most people thought it would never work. The experts in our industry thought it would never work. Like people wouldn't get the service they wanted. They wouldn't feel safe. We never get insured. But thankfully, we didn't listen. And we also didn't know much about franchising. And franchising is a form of fundraising because we're using franchising capital to build brand. And so we're just quick learners. We want to help people be healthy, help people achieve better wealth. And so we started franchising day one.
Yeah, I remember hearing your story originally. You said, a lot of people didn't think the key fob approach worked, whether it was safety or whether it was 24/7 surveillance, and you sort of invented the category at scale, which was really impressive. And I think any angel investors at the time, had they had the opportunity, would have missed out, had they not believed with the conviction that you did. And so I just want to, and I'm going to open up to you for questions, just as we're talking here. I'm going to make sure we leave plenty of time because Chuck and I both want this to be your session, not ours. So stay tuned in about 20, 30 minutes. get some Q&A. But I just wanted to reflect on obviously you have a lot of successes, but I'm sure there's some things that you reflect on and also say, hey, these are some things I did really well. Maybe as a startup or a founder, or and as a scale, maybe some things I wish I had done differently. Anything that sticks out from the early days?
Yeah, I'll give you two things. We launched in 2002. We started to show some success in the industry. There were so many copycats, right? People say, no, we can do this too. And if you look at our business model, go rent 5,000 square feet, put a bunch of equipment in there and use technology, it's very, very easy to replicate. And so you mentioned something earlier, it's not just what we did, it's how we did it. And so we were in a market share for like who is going to like be the market winner, because we had dozens and dozens of well-funded copycats. So, we implemented a flat fee royalty, which is kind of a growth hack. Normally franchising is a percentage of revenue. Ours is flat. So it's a franchisee that makes more money. They keep more, right? We had this, I'd call bone marrow obsession to like support our franchisees. And so we were always so fixated on how we work every day. Can we collaborate? Can we support our franchisees better? Can we work with speed? Right? We had very low franchise fees, and we just wanted to win the market share race. And here we are today, 5 times bigger than our second place competitor, 50 times bigger than our third place competitor. We have obviously won the race in the category leader. So how we did it is kind of our, that's why I'm such a big proponent of culture, because it's what we do on a Tuesday afternoon that matters, right? Because we've all got very, very similar strategic plans. That's how we do it. If I doing things over again, this answer surprises people, but I wish we would have built a better brand. I wish we were, I don't know if people have heard the term blitzscaling, which is a Reid Hoffman term, and he wrote a book about, taking speed over efficiency. We used to joke back in the day, we take speed over execution. We were so crazy intent on going fast and beating our competitors to a market that we didn't have the really, really strong brand standards. I wish we would have taken more time to nurture a brand. Like, what's the personality of our brand? What are the attributes? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then be really, really compliant and standardized across our brand. Today, it's still too inconsistent. And so we built a great business, but we could have done a better job of building a great brand. But we should have done that better.
That's interesting. Didn't hear that in your story. You've expanded into fitness to all 7 continents in theoretic geography buffs. Yes, that includes Antarctica.
Yes.
Good time. So, and I was more so like, what gave you that conviction early on that a 24/7 fitness center would work globally at scale everywhere?
We didn't have conviction. I mean, how portable is this now? In franchising, you see other franchise brands make the leap to other areas of the world. We didn't really know. We had a wonderful opportunity with a group from Australia. Australia is a very franchise-centered culture. So of course we made the leap with them. And franchising is like a master franchise strategy. It means we do a revenue sharing and they launch your brand in that country. And it is Anytime Fitness City is the #1 fitness brand in Australia. We're the #1 fitness brand in Japan. Right? We're becoming the #1 fitness brand all across Southeast Asia. So the portability of our brand, like the market fit, if you think about wellness, it's a global need and desire for people all around the world. And franchising is alive as well. I mean, people are looking for opportunities as a gateway to create generational wealth. And so both of those are very, very important. Now, we're smart enough to know that what we need to globalize and how we need to localize. To use a term called local. How do we understand what's going on in that country and make small changes in the experience that sets it up well? And that's what we rely on our international partners for. So I don't know if we have strong conviction, but we have courage, right? Sometimes you just need courage to make a bet. And today we're open 500 or 600 stores around the world, and 75% of those will be outside the U.S. So by the way, if you get a chance, go to Antarctica. We launched Anytime Fitness on a ship there in December 2019, a few months before COVID. I've been to all 7 continents, and I'm telling you, Antarctica is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. So, and if you go around there, work out fitness.
I love that story. Maybe sticking with the franchisees and how you placed bets. I'm thinking about the angel investors. They're placing bets, right? And I'm just curious if you draw any similarities between who you chose to wave the Anytime Fitness flag and carry your brand that you cared so deeply about. Like, do you see the similarities, or how did you choose your franchisees? What did you consider when you interviewed those franchisees?
So I'm from the east side of St. Paul. Went to Johnson High School, public high school. I mean, he grew up, defining most of my head, but Dave and I don't come from necessarily, well financially driven families. Dave's from St. Paul Park. for two like East Side kids who can, barely afford to do something like this. And so when we see franchisees in front of us, like we always are rooting for the underdog, right? Even if they're coming to us, they're scraping together some kind of resource to open up this club. Like we see ourselves in them, we want to help them succeed. There's been so many incredible success stories about people's first time being an entrepreneur, first time being a franchisee. And so we want to make bets on people. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but if I look at the macro, if I look at the last 22 years, man, I'm so proud that we get to like triple dip purpose. We get to improve our consumers' health around the world. We get to help franchisees like make an incredible living for their family and a purpose-driven franchise, and we get to help employees grow and do something they feel great about. So, man, we're so grateful and gratified every day, like taking chances on franchisees where they could not afford to do other franchises.
Yeah. I want to get back to culture because it was, like I said, one of the things that really stuck out to me when I interviewed you years ago, and how I've tried to lead the culture and be a good leader inside that culture. But I'm curious, what does it mean to you and to the culture? You said before you can't buy it. How do you think about that, and what have you done very intentionally to build such an impressive culture in your portfolio? Right?
Yes. So I've been a leader. I've been managing teams for 36 years. I've been 20 years old. So and I'm proud that over 3 decades of running profitable small businesses and now a big business. And there have been times I've had to change my leadership style. Right? There was, and we have. If you come to our corporate office in Woodbury, you'll see 2 street signs. They have the 4 P's: people, purpose, profits, play. It's just a very interesting formula, right? Care deeply about your people, give them a purpose that's bigger than themselves. Of course, profits for all stakeholders, not just shareholders, and have fun going along the way. And we found our way to those 4 P's being this engagement formula, like high performance teams. You've got as a leader in those 4 P's: people, purpose, profits, play. And I can tell you from experience, when I was leading prior to Orangetheory Fitness, I didn't lead with much purpose, right? And we played a lot, but we just didn't emotionally engage our employees. And so we were a good boss, we were a good employer, we weren't great, right? And as we're getting into Orangetheory Fitness, we're still a scrappy startup, right? When I'm making a transition from founder to leader, right, which a lot of founders don't do, and this is not about the product, this is about building a team so the team can build a business, right? And I'm thinking, oh man, how do we need to change this? How do we need to win the talent war? How do we make sure that when people show up on a Wednesday, they are engaged, the business, they care, they're thinking about it, right? And so at the end of the day, we kind of discovered this 4P quotient. I'm telling you, we emotionally and mentally, physically engage our employees better. We have won the talent war, we continue to win the talent war. Those 4 Ps are carried on to our franchisees. If you come to our office in Woodbury too, you'll notice we're the only corporate campus maybe in the world that's got a full-time tattoo room, right? Does anyone here have a tattoo of their brand on their skin? You have tattoos, so there you go. But anyone have a business brand? What is it? I'm sorry? Wonderland. So there you go. There's one person with a corporate tattoo. Anyone else have a corporate tattoo? I actually feel sorry for you. I mean, think about something that you feel so passionate about that you actually put it on your skin. We've had thousands of people get our tattoo, our brand on their skin. If you come to our corporate events, like our annual conference, we'll have 5 tattoo artists, and they take hundreds of people get a tattoo, right? Because they're so emotionally bought in. And it always been done with purpose, right? I mean, I love my life, or I love that I can change other people's lives. And so, I mean, this 4P formula is just something that I'm telling you is the single, it's how we do it, right? It's enabled us to do it better than our competitors, how we execute every single day, right? And so, if you come to Woodbury, we'll get you a free tattoo. Our CFO hates it because I bet you spent $700,000 on tattoos over the years, right? If someone gets a tattoo right now anywhere in the world, the owner, the franchisee sends us a photo, reason why, the receipt, we reimburse, right? And so it's so passion-driven, so purpose-driven, and we bleed purple, literally.
Yeah, so write that down, the tattoo parlor. Just don't tell your CFO.
That's right.
I want to move into just some of the scaling of the businesses you have in the portfolio. You've expanded well beyond fitness centers, continue to build out your portfolio of fitness, nutrition, and wellness services. And I know we talked about that, but you were in the process of building out that portfolio. And I just want to pick your brain a little bit on when you decided it was the right time to expand? And I know you had that strategy from the beginning, but how did you think about that? What was your strategy? What motivated you to finally start building the empire?
Yeah, in 2002 when we started, my partner and I were really just two fitness guys. We knew the fitness industry, and we could help our franchisees run profitable fitness centers. But we had to learn to be a really, really good franchisor. It took some time. And we had to build capabilities to help support them, right? Whether it's real estate or marketing or finance or operations or technology. And so over time, we're making investments in these capabilities. And probably about 8 years in, 2010, 2011, we understood that, hey, we can leverage these capabilities with other franchise brands. And so we did kind of grow into becoming a world-class franchisor. And then we acquired Wax in the City, which is they do body waxing studios, right? They were a small brand based in Denver. We now are the number 2 player in the market. And we now acquired the Bar Method, a Stronger Nutrition to help our members be healthier, Basecamp Fitness, which is like a HIIT workout, and then now recently a merger with Orangetheory Fitness, giving us nearly 8,000 locations around the world. And so those capabilities we have today, now we can build them as superpower capabilities because we can take the best of Orangetheory, the best of the self-esteem brands, and help our franchisees be more competitive around the world. So I fell in love with franchise. And again, I've always loved fitness, but as we're starting, we really get close to franchisees, and you see the grit that they have, and you see the difference it makes in their lives. I just really, really fall in love with franchise, and it's been an unlock for people from all walks of life to like literally own their own business, do something they love, create generational wealth, and they don't necessarily have to have all the experience because we provide it for them. It's like they're in business for themselves, but not by themselves because your franchisor is your partner. And so a really good franchisor takes a great deal of pride in that, helping their franchisees succeed.
Yeah, and as you expanded the portfolio of businesses, maybe describe just a double click on your leadership style, how it evolved from being in the trenches of the startup to then running a massive portfolio of companies.
Yeah, when you're a founder in an early stage business, you know the product better than anyone on the team, right? You're the product expert. And as you're growing, you're reading, you bring in some subject matter expertise, and you start less focusing on product, more focusing on people. And there's like an emotional labor that comes with building teams, right? And as a leader, it's also a sense of vulnerability and humility. Oh my gosh, these people are like way smarter than me in certain areas. So there's like a self-actualization that has to happen. And you almost have to give yourself permission to not be the smartest person in the room. And to it's not your idea anymore. It's your job to say, team, what do you think? What would you do in this situation? Tell me what your vantage point is. Let me harness all your experience. What would you do here? So I switched from knowing the most about the product to wanting to know the most about our team. And it went from product to people. And again, great leaders build teams, and then teams build the business. And so I got further away from the actual product. It sounds weird, but I really leaned into our team. And so, I had to overly communicate, overly listen, literally try to open up their minds and their hearts to give everything to the business. And that was really almost like a chief psychologist officer, right? And you're just trying to unlock people's potential and unlock their curiosity and love for the brand.
I want to get into some lessons learned. And you've been a business builder, you've been an investor, and we have angel investors, we have startups who are starting up companies and have started companies and are probably doing it again and again. And you see countless pitch decks over the years for early stage companies. And I'm just curious, as you reflect on maybe some of the common mistakes folks make, or maybe even some of the really great strengths and pitches you've heard and how they're thinking about their business, maybe give us some key lessons learned. Yeah.
You guys have probably seen it. I've seen so many decks over the years, and we've probably looked at, dozens and dozens of acquisitions, and we've only pulled the trigger on a few. I think most people are just way too optimistic about their growth forecast, which now makes their valuation too high. I'd love to see level of pragmatism from a small group of founders. Give me a best and worst case scenario. I'd love to see raw honesty about the product and the market, maybe even their leadership, where it's strong, where it's weak, where the opportunities and threats are. So I just like to see some of that more. I just think they get way too good. When I've saved all the ducks, and then I go back and look at it 2 years, right? And 9 out of 10 never live up to the forecast. They just don't. And so, I don't know. I love founders who have a sense of pragmatism in how they pitch.
Got it. And following the talk, our next panel is covering exits. And you've been within Time Fitness, self-esteem brands, and now purpose brands since the beginning, which is really unique in its own right. A lot of founders don't hang in there, and maybe they go on and do another venture, but you've stuck with it. And I'm just getting curious, As you've taken investments over time, made acquisitions of your own, or completed now what's referred to as a merger of equals, just how did you decide on what the right time was to either take investment or transact in any of those forms?
So we're starting to grow pretty big. We're starting to get some people starting to or see us in the investment world. We got approached in 2008 with some private equity to make an investment. We weren't ready at the time, but we started our business with 3 partners, really good friends too. And things change when businesses are growing. And so we got that there was a period of time. I understand how partnerships can go a bit toxic. So we had to buy out a partner. We ended up buying out that partner in December of 2009, right in the middle of the Great Recession, by the way. Not a very easy time to go get painful. So prior to that, we were approached by private equity, and for an Eastside kid, it was just life-changing money. And I didn't have anyone I could go to. This is my first time down to get into this. So I had a buddy at a golf course who was a banker. So I remember going to his house on a Saturday, and I kind of explained everything, like, should I do it? As a banker, he's like, of course you should, Chuck. Plus he knew me. He's like, dude, you should take this money, go. Thank God I didn't listen to him. It was the single best decision of our life. My current partner, Dave, and I said, you know what? We believe in this business. And our partner at the time just wanted to put more money in his pocket. And Dave and I wanted to reinvest for like stakeholder over shareholder. He was shareholder over stakeholder. Nothing wrong. And so when Dave and I declined, he wanted to go through with it. We did a very creative financing package to buy him out in 2009. We were paying 16% interest, like $11,000 every single day. I believe I did the math. And so it was risk, right? We doubled down on us. We believed in us. We believed in the brand. And it all worked out. Single best decision ever. But what if COVID would have happened in 2010? I wouldn't be here today. They would have took the business, right? And so we took the risk, made it work. And then in 2014, I have 4 kids. My partner has 5 kids. We just said, hey, look, at some point, we should take some chips off the table. Right? We owe it to our kids. We owe it to ourselves to buy ourselves some financial security for life. So we interviewed equity firms like they interviewed us. We wrote an 8-page manifesto. We're like, look, you read this, you respond. I mean, we actually took it very seriously. We want to make sure we had the right partner. We worked capital based out of Atlanta, arguably the best private equity franchising, and made it their first ever minority investor in selling steam brands. They are still our partner today, same minority investment. Dave and I took that money mostly for just to secure ourselves financially. We did put some back in reinvestment. We've always shared with some employees along the way. So it was just time for us personally to do that. And then as we've done the merger now, we've just, made it all shareholders we've done the math, but we're in it for the long game. So there's so much growth globally. The next exit or next opportunity, I mean, when performance is where it should be, when integration goes well, and marketing conditions are strong, we'll consider it again. But right now, we're just focused on the business.
Yeah, I'm curious with those new brands you brought on, how you thought about integration, how you thought about maybe the culture you had built inside Fitness for years, how you thought about trying to kind of create that spirit within those other brands. Because obviously each owner, as we know, I mean, especially founders, it's really right, have a unique take on what they want their brand to be.
So as a founder-driven business, there was also kind of a question mark in banking community. They're like, you guys are too founder-driven. Where's your succession plan? So over the last few years, Dave and I have been talking about succession plan. So with the merger, we just brought in a new CEO. That CEO started January 1. Dave and I are now kind of semi-retired. We operate at the board level, but we're not in the business day to day. Love you, by the way. However, the business is going through some change. And I like to say we're taking the change steps. New leader, new style, right? New, type of culture. So right now, it's a little bit messy. And integration is hard. We're still at 18-month roadmap, but there's some massive cost synergies and also massive growth synergies. It's a really, really difficult time now at the company. I'm just speaking candidly. It's change, it's integration, it is merging 2 cultures together, it's still blending the teams. So they'll get there. It's our job to support. But it's going to be a change. I mean, it's just not going to be the same when the founders leave the business. In some ways better, in some ways not.
I had written down as I was re-reviewing the memo that I written 7 years ago on that third founder, something stuck out to me that you said there are 3 types of people that care about lifting weights, people that care about lifting money, and people that care about lifting people. That's kind of hung with me. And so I thought that was really a unique part of how you and Dave decided it's time for us to kind of go this between the 2 of us and move on. It seemed you were more aligned and how you wanted to lead your people.
We're the people business, and every leader is the people business. So whether it's your employees or for us, franchisees or consumers, it's all about thinking like people first. So
I know we wanted to, we can get back to a couple more questions, but I did with 27 minutes on the clock. I wanted to open it up to questions, as I mentioned, because again, we want to make sure this is your session, not ours. So I know there are a couple of runners with mics. I see one, a slight jog there. It's well done. We'll give you a minute. Here's a question right at the front. We want to make sure you get the mic first before you ask it.
Hi, I'm Alex Goldbricks. Really excited to be here. I'm curious, where do you see the world of fitness going in the next 5 to 10 years? What are you really excited about?
Love it. So one of the things we've always thought this industry is recession resilient. I mean, other than COVID, it's grown every single year. And there's global appeal to it. And, the education, the motivation, the awareness around wellness, the spend globally. We're looking at double-digit growth globally on wellness spending. Now, that's a very holistic term. But we need to get, there's a whole bunch of people at the Mayo Clinic. Mayo's wonderful, but we need more gyms in those hospitals. Right? We need more personal trainers and coaches, less doctors. We need to be more preventive. And at the end of the day, it's a little bit sad how little we spend in healthcare and prevention. Almost nothing. Everything's on the sick side of it. We need to get people moving, sleeping, eating better, mentally. I mean, at the end of the day, exercise is medicine. And so we are purpose-driven the fact that we change people's lives. If you come to the gym, you will not end up in the hospital 10, 20, 30 years. So at the end of the day, like that attitude is you can see it all across social media. You can see it government agencies, whether you're political or not, right? Taking American health thing. And at the end of the day, we need to be more preventative. And it probably goes down to our school level. You'd be shocked at how many schools have cut fire and budget because of pressure and budget cuts. Kids are not exercising, they're not moving. We're still feeding them some interesting food in the schools, right? So we don't value health. We don't have a culture of health. We don't have a culture of prevention. So at the end of the day, like we're going to be lobbying. We're trying to change policy. But if you look at the need and the desire for wellness, what people are going to spend, I absolutely, this industry is going to be so opportunistic. And franchising is able to unlock that in areas around the world. But man, we're in the right industry. And AI is going to help us. We collect so much biometric behavioral data for us to personalize and knowledge our members at the right time and give them that high five and coach them, AI as well as people. And AI empowered coaches, incredible opportunities. So the more we know about your health, the more we can help you, the more we're rewarding. We'll find some partners who want to provide you with some currency for that. So I could not be more bullish or more excited. And I'm 22 years inside, and the opportunities ahead of us are amazing. So.
Chuck, Dominic, thank you so much for the conversation. My name is Reed. I lead the investment decisions for Capital. So this is a selfish question from a portfolio company in Fund One. It's a local program. It's called the Coven. It's a franchise. The future growth is largely driven off of a franchise model. So I'm wondering if you have advice that we can relay onto that team of what does it take to be successful in building a business that can scale to the same level using this model for growth.
We use a term in our company called bone marrow obsession. In the marrow of our bones, we absolutely live and die for our franchisees, right? We want to support them. Right? And franchising, if your franchisees are successful, the growth will happen, right? So, of course, you have to have the right product, but then you got to train and support the franchisees. And at the end of the day, if they're making money, they buy more, they tell others. And so we were so obsessed with helping our franchisees early on that that's the flywheel. Franchisee performance, franchisee happiness. At the end of the day, I'll make it simple. Franchisee comes down to 2 words: profitability and trust. If your franchisee is profitable and they trust the corporate team, the growth will happen. And so you can have profitability without trust. You have trust without profitability, that doesn't work. You got to have both. And so I just, how strong a relationship you have with your franchisees. Are you locking out with them? Are you really listening to them? Do you really care about their business? Do you care about their success? And then how strong is the model? So what are you doing to make sure it's competitive, operates profitable?
Well, you already got the mics. Yeah.
Chuck and Dominic, thank you so much. Chuck Kinnipple. I actually own an executive headhunting and recruiting firm, so definitely the people business. But just wondering, Chuck, what's the biggest opportunity you see in health and wellness going forward? What's a real new opportunity or something coming down the pipe, whether it's longevity or things along those lines? But what are some other big opportunities?
I just really love this level of personalization that we get. People are having wearables. It doesn't matter if you're inside a club or outside a club, right? You can know your health. And if you allow us, we can know your health better than anybody. So we can, I mean, people need help doing this. And behavior change is hard. We live in a very unhealthy world, and it's so easy to be unhealthy. It's so easy to be sedentary to watch Netflix. It's so easy to order unhealthy food. It's just so easy to be unhealthy. You need that healthy digital shoulder. So with the information we can gather, that we can help you with your goals. At the end of the day, I'm so excited about the level of what I call intimacy with someone's health. What we do with that information to help them be more successful. And then I do think with the intersection of like fitness and healthcare, well, like coming together. So with healthier policies, you can reward people financially for being healthier. So I think there's going to be some linking up there.
Hey, it's me. Good. Chuck, really enjoying your presentation so far. And I have tons of questions, but I'll just ask one. So can you describe to me a little bit about how people get started on their health journey? So I can imagine a lot of people who want to be healthy but don't really know how to be healthy. For myself, for example, I'll do push-ups at home, then I'll hurt my shoulder, and then I'll just stop. Like there must be some transition from not doing anything to starting to do something. Tell me what you've learned about that part of the journey.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's a different answer for most people, but look, there's so much free content on YouTube, right? And you don't need to join a gym. You don't need to join science. You don't need to go on serious stuff. But you can do this on your own, but it's hard, right? It's also hard to do yourself through COVID. People were not at home for a while, and now everyone's flooding back to the gym and studios because that home environment is not the most motivating. So if you're struggling with motivation, I do one of two things. Find someone in your network that's going to help hold you accountable. You can go for a walk together, do an exercise together, meet at Orangetheory together, right? Or go find a culture personal trainer. They're lifetime, anytime, you name it. Clubs have really great personal trainers who want to help you, who understand you getting started. And let's find out where you are today, where you want to get to, and chunk this up into like small, achievable tasks that you can do. And once you start to get there, hey, I've done this for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you start to build your confidence, right? A little bit of physical strength creates emotional strength. The next thing you know, it becomes a lifelong habit. I've seen this. I've seen incredible success stories. But it really is like a day at a time. But find someone in your network or go pay for a personal trainer to like help you overcome that motivation and be more consistent.
Hello, Chuck. Ivan from the side of St. Paul, party kids, so it's perfect. It's all right.
You didn't like it, guys.
You mentioned something about the brand. What about working on the brand? I come from a branding agency, that kind of environment. So, could you tell us like how crucial was it, or if you could change the branding strategy that you guys use, would you done differently?
Yeah, we would have created like a character, like who is Anytime Fitness? How does this person think and behave? And what are the personality of the brand? Like how does that come out in the brand expressions? Like in everything, our CRM or our design, our social media, and even years ago. And so if you think about McDonald's, right? You go to any McDonald's world, and generally you're going to get the very same experience, right? The Coke, the fries, and the burgers taste the same. We grew so fast. We valued speed over execution that we didn't have the high brand standards. We didn't have the field support to enforce it. And so people were putting up Anytime Fitness around the world that looked differently, that felt different, that just, maybe had different equipment, different services, different colors and wall. And so we kind of allowed too much franchisee freedom and flexibility. And we're still cleaning up that mess years later on today, internationally. Like you go to some countries and they're tight. You go to one and you know Anytime Fitness. But there are still clubs within our system, too many, frankly, for our size, that are just not up to the brand standards. And that's kind of our fault because we should have, from day one, enforced more rigid standardization with our operations, right? I wish I would have been smarter about data back then. 2002 to 2010, I wasn't really thinking about it, but now we've got a lot of messes to clean up because our operations are so fragmented too. And I wish I would have thought more about, all right, long term, if every single club operates the same, looks the same, and we're collecting all the same business and consumer data, we can scale that much faster. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to try to clean that up. We like our variation pricing. And there are literally hundreds of ways you can price membership or price personal training. On franchise, you may not know this, but we cannot force prices on our franchisees. We can give you a range, but we cannot say you have to charge $300 a month. But I think we could have done a better job of consolidating our packages because it's with all these variations, to try the technology behind that is really, really hard. So like pricing, it's brand standards, brand expressions, brand personality. I wish we would have been more thoughtful about that. We're bleeding out.
Yeah, Chuck and Dominic, thanks. Echoing the thanks from everyone else, really appreciate the discussion. Chuck, with a room full of active angel investors and some wannabe angel investors, any advice for us thinking about looking for deals or finding deals?
So I've done some early stage investing, not that much personally, but interesting story. I don't know if you guys remember a TV show called Secret Millionaire. You remember that? It was on probably 10 years. So my partner and I went on that show in 2012. And the premise of that show is like you get whisked away to a city that you don't know about. Like they pick you up and finally go to the airport and we realized we're going to Oklahoma City. And Dave and I, they put us in a very impoverished community with no media, no TV. We had $72 to live on for the week. And then you walk around the community, you stumble across these wonderful organizations, right? And so, by the way, living in Oklahoma City wasn't hard for us because we grew up on the east side of St. Paul. We were fine. And we were determined to eat healthy on $72 a week, which we did. But we stumbled across these organizations, they're of course set up. And then it was like changing. I mean, we saw these micro, like nonprofits, right, doing amazing work, these community heroes, unsung. I mean, and if we could write down a $15,000 check, I mean, maybe the annual budget would be $25,000. Right, one of them was with teenage kids. Another one was prosthetics, $400 grand. The other one was about $100 grand wrestling. So these incredible organizations worked in Oklahoma City, it changed the United States. And so today, we used to be called the Runyon Family Foundation. It was called Runyon Philanthropic. It's our active foundation today. It focuses on the east side of St. Paul, primarily around entrepreneurship, education, health. And we get the pleasure, our board team and I, of finding just the same people we found in Oklahoma City. These small budget, unsung community leaders, community heroes who need capital, community, capabilities, or confidence. We call it the 4 C's, right? Capital, community, capabilities, or confidence. So at the end of the day, we get to early stage invest in a single business or whatever. And by the way, we are like almost non-directive. Like the community leaders know the community better than we do. It's our job to listen, to provide where needed capital, right? And so it's microloans go a long way in these communities. Education, tuition goes a long way in these communities. We provide community. We bring these leaders together. We bring business owners together. We actually have we did last year, we did a cohort. We brought 20 business leaders together. We put them through a 10-week program and built their capabilities like marketing, operations, people leadership, and also so. And then we sometimes they just need confidence. They need like some emotional support because we're all like, are we qualified? Do I know how to do this? And being a small business is so hard. There's no way you can learn all those things. So, we are there to build their confidence, to provide them capital, provide their community, help them provide the capabilities. So to answer your questions, that's what we look for. Now, as I've looked at early stage, my framework is it purpose driven? It's got to align with something that's going to improve people on the planet. Right? I just don't want to do it if it's not. And then do I really like the people? Do I believe in them? Do I believe in the product? I wouldn't take a bet. So, yes, I'll look at the product fit and like the forecast and things like that. But to me, it always starts with, does it align with my purpose? Do I like these founders, these people, right? What are they all about? And so, I don't know if that's helpful, but.
Can I double click on that for a second? Because you have placed bets on people, including thousands of your own and some other companies, but how do you assess that? Like when you look at an early stage founder, like when you look at their character or how they lead or how they, with passion and energy, do they consider something you're looking for? Or when you say, gosh, I'm going to place a bet on her or him?
I look for, I call it intellectual humility. Meaning they're smart, but they're smart enough to know that I've got a lot to learn, right? And are they willing to ask questions? When they come to a meeting, how prepared are they? With all due respect, if someone from franchise here comes see me, they better have a notebook of questions. We better not have enough time to get through it, right? Are they curious? Do they want to learn? Yes, they're smart, but they have the humility to say, hey, look, help me look at my blind spots. I got blind spots. So it's a little bit more art than science, but I love people who are bone marrow obsessed, who have intellectual humility. And I prefer founders who want to be in the business and like really closer to business with people. If they're already talking about, I want to bring in a CEO, it's just kind of a turn off for me. First of all, I'm a CEO. We don't work that hard. We hire people who do the work. So you're a small company. I don't want VPs. I don't want senior VPs. I don't want titles. I want people to be close to work to do it. I want leaders who are hand in hand with their small team and scrappy. So I don't know. I want people who are willing to be gritty and have that intellectual humility, and have that bone marrow obsession. So it's kind of just feel out. It's just a good character. You like them.
Good morning. No, sure, I'll close the speakers. Hey, Chuck, Dominic, really enjoying everything this morning, especially what you're talking about in terms of what the ideal system is. I love what you're saying about teams, especially the piece about intellectual humility. And I felt like I heard some of that a while ago when you recognized that you can't be the smartest person in the room. But you also mentioned you've had to change your leadership style several times throughout the years. So I'm really curious how you define leadership now.
How would I just
Leadership. How do you define it?
Yeah, to me, it's like, oh man, I'm a hardcore listener and curious. Like, it's my job to ask questions of the team, and to like listen so much. I mean, I know it's it's a typical saying, but I do want to be the person last to speak. I just want to hear our team's point of view. I'm just so curious about how they see they're in a different angle of business, like a different prism. So I want them to speak up. And when they speak up and they have the courage and confidence, that's the character building for them. So to me, it's all about listening. It's all about being super curious. It's all about trying to take in some of the quantitative data with some of the qualitative data, right? And by the way, when you're in a franchise system, that means you're also asking your franchisees. I mean, our FAC, our Franchise Advisory Council, I just had a franchisee direct DM me through Instagram yesterday. I'm happy with something going on in the business. He owns a single unit. He goes, look, I know I'm small. I own this one little store, but da-da-da-da. I had to remind him that while I'm not in the business, let me make sure that's taken care of. But hey, whether you own one store or 100 or 10 doesn't matter. Like, your feedback matters. And by the way, that was resolved this morning. So we care, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I just think it comes to listening, being curious, out caring other leaders, and truly wanting what's best for the employee. So, at the end of it, if people are with us 3 years or 10 years, I mean, they have a long life. There's wonderful mountains to go climb, right? Like, when they leave, we try to do it with grace and celebration, right? Because when you work for us self-esteem rental leaders, it's like a badge. In franchising, people are always trying to poach our team. No one's trying to attract our team. Think about that. So when people get the opportunity, we embrace that, we celebrate it. Because I'm here to develop the people. We use the term mountain. We're climbing together, but there's other mountains we're going to go climb. And so at the end of the day, I want to develop them so they are not only better for our company, but marketable, be even better for the next opportunity. I hope that makes sense. And I think that comes through when we do engagement studies, the number one thing that comes through is my employer cares well. And that we care about their health. We care about their flexibility. Do not miss the most important moments of your life. I'm a father of 4, Dave's a father of 5. And one of the things I'm proud of is fast growing business. I made 90% of my kids games and practices, right? I moved to the cabin a lot. My kids are freaking on the wall. You don't often hear that in entrepreneurship, right? I don't want a tombstone that says, great business person, wealthy parent, right? And I don't want our team to be that way. Because I don't want our executives to look thoughtless, right? But you go to your son's little game. You go to your daughter's basketball game. Don't miss it. You want to coach? I know you work on weekends. So we've also offered incredible flexibility, and we care about them, their whole self. Like, we care what happens on weekends. We do. Go enjoy your hobbies. Go take care of your aging parents. We understand you got to leave Tuesday because you have a doctor's appointment with your mom. So stuff like that, we're like different. We're not going to police you. We trust you. Do the work, and guess what? Most good life. Kind of wants to live as long as it was.
Hey Chuck, Andre Creighton. I'm a Hardy grad as well. However, I am on the Rooted Advisory Board, so hopefully you can cut me some slack. So my question for you is, are you seeing with franchisees from a go-to-market strategy, are they focusing more on kind of the fitness deserts, and is that part of kind of your go-to-market strategy to expand into places where there aren't a lot of fitness centers and inequitable places?
I would absolutely love to, and I would say that we got a lot of opportunity there. So some of it is based on available real estate, where you can there's only so many finite places in a market, and just the right type of franchisee who want to live or are part of the community. Most of our franchisees are still owner operators. They live in the communities that they serve, and so I still think there's some opportunities there. Probably not as we got off this.
I'm Debbie. I'm also in St. Paul. I'm a lawyer. I work with startups and exits, etc. And I'm fascinated by the global footprint that you have. And I think you must have learned a massive amount about different cultures and markets, bringing a franchise into them. And I'm wondering if there's any thoughts you have on doing that. And also if there are any particular markets that you would bet on every time.
I mean, in hindsight, I could pick the winners, right? But I mean, who would have thought that we'd have 1,200 locations in Japan, right? And by the way, our partner there at Fast Fitness Japan is Polygon, the Filipino stock exchange, right? So, I mean, it's been an incredible success story. I would have never predicted that type of growth. And I think for us, it really also comes down to that mental humility, listening, understanding that every market is different, and relying on our in-country partnerships to grow. I mean, in the U.S. here, we have strip centers everywhere, in every community, right? When you go outside this country, there are not an abundance of strips. So real estate becomes really critical. And there are places in India and Japan, even Australia, that I never thought a club would work on the third story of a hospital and next to a train station or steps down below like a basement. I mean, there are just locations I get into, I'm like, wow, it's shocking. And so we really need to rely on our partners to guide us in making those type of right real estate decisions. It's really critical. And then language that you use, and like your member communications, how you support franchisees, obviously currency and cultural differences, and just, you know, maybe some need a bit more coffee, some need spin room. So we're always listening and understanding of and trying to accommodate like local nuances of culture that makes sense. But we go into every country kind of with the, hey, here's Anytime Fitness today. We'd love to pick it up and put it here. That doesn't always work. Let's talk. Let's look at the environment, look at the marketplace. What changes might we need to make for the customer and the franchisee?
Hi, I had a question about the last part of your journey, which you kind of rushed through. You talked about the transition from being CEO to board member, and then maybe board member to being a little more disengaged with leadership, or almost sounds like on your way out. And the surprising thing is that listening to you speak, you're very passionate about the industry, the field, everything. Just talk to us a little bit about, you know, that decision to step away, the decision to be on board, maybe to stay there or to step further away when you still seem so intellectually and emotionally engaged by the whole business.
I love what we built. I love our people. I love what we stand for. I love health and wellness. And you know, the good news is, in my time now, I get to spend more time lobbying or trying to like create healthier policies. So I get to be a very supportive board member. So there's still things I can do to grow the business. My partner is on the board of the International Franchise Association. I'm very active with the Health and Fitness Association. So we're very, very active to protect and promote small businesses, franchising, health and wellness around the world. And so we're going to get the selected spots. But we had to choose, we had to show succession planning, one of the reasons we did it. And, you know, personally, I was ready. I mean, I love this brand, but I don't miss 300 emails a day. I don't miss like Zoom, meetings. So I'm going to take this year off and play a little bit more, and I'll be more selective in my time. Really help me franchise brands, marketing franchise brands, maybe programs, boards. But I've been very, very purposeful about removing my shadow from the organization. Founders cast a big shadow. And so I love our team. I was very close to them, but you know, they ping me. I'm here, but I'm like literally trying to like lean back, allow the team to find their new cadence, and not be that founder who's looking over the shoulder. It's a bad thing. If founders have to go back and get the ball, it shows the banking community that once again, you're too founder driven. Our enterprise valuation is low. So if we can prove that it doesn't need founders to thrive, our valuation goes up. I owe the shareholders to make sure that this company thrives without founders involved.
Let's go one or two more questions and then we'll, yeah.
Rodney from Rochester. This might be a little bit off, but so you said that purpose brands is to promote, you know, physical nutrition, health, and wellness. I just wanted to know, what is your outlook on mental health and how that plays a part in the overall physical well-being of an individual?
I think it's massive, and it's got it all tied together. I mean, my favorite success stories over the years, we celebrate our success stories in annual conference. I've not just been people losing weight, it's been people who've been fighting PTSD or depression or food issues, like whatever it is, they suffer mentally. And you know, they go into a club and they find a community. They find all of our success stories have something in common. They found someone at the club who's willing to care for them. an owner. That's why I love our franchisees. We care about our community more than our competition, more than our competitors. But your owner, your coach, your personal trainer, they care for you. Through that care, they start to unlock you. You're willing to be vulnerable. You're willing to say, I need help. You're willing to share it, confide. And when we break down that wall, things start to change. And then you get a little bit of physical strength. It creates emotional strength, creates mental strength, and then it's like a flywheel. So at the end of the day, I mean, look, it's proven. People who exercise regularly are healthier, happier, more productive, have better academic grades, are more successful. I mean, there's a direct link to your biceps and your butt and your mind and all that. I mean, it's not about being ripped. This is about being your best, being in your best mood, being your best spouse, being, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about mental acuity for me. That's the number one reason I work out, mental acuity. Stress, sleep, mental acuity are the top three reasons that work out, and people underestimate the link between physical activity and mental acuity. So, if you want something on the mental health crisis, get people healthier, period. I mean, look, we're all sitting around, we're sitting to, we're on our phones, we're watching Netflix, we're eating shitty food. And at the end of the day, our mental health continues to decline because we're not putting enough emphasis on holistic health and prevention and getting people healthy. It's true. 4,000 steps a day reduces your risk of depression by 32%. 4,000 steps. People sit too much. Sitting disease is causing issues. So at the end of the day, you want to get people healthier, let's make some serious policy to get them healthy.
I think you were getting at a little bit of this too. I want to double click on that. It's a great question. Leadership is tough too. Being a urban state founder, it's all really tough. We've talked a lot about caring for people, and I think you're getting at it about taking care of yourself, your fitness, engaging with family. Anything else you point to that you've done over the years, including the startup days, to take care of people?
Yeah, I tell you what, for me, look, I need 17 hours of sleep. I'm not one of those guys who probably don't sleep. No, I need 17 hours. I need to work out at least 5-6 days a week. I need some social time. I need all those things, right? But I want to tell you a story about a long-term executive in our office. And by the way, one of the secrets to our success is we are largely a company driven by very influential women. And Dave and I mean that. We hire the best people. But generally, women leaders are maybe a bit more communicative, a bit more empathetic. They're more in touch with their emotions. We're very emotional. And we also understand that, look, moms and women are incredible. I mean that. But there's a lot of pressure they feel at home with kids, et cetera. And so, this is a few years ago, one of our VPs who's been with us a long time, we're in our annual review, and we had this massive initiative called the Club OS. It's like a club operating system. We had to sweep through our entire network to get everyone standardized so I can clean up this operation. And she was fixing it. She came in and we're 15 minutes in our annual review. And I pushed it aside. I won't use her name, but I just say, Mary, how are we doing? Right? And you could tell she was literally wearing the stress. I get a bit emotional because she was not feeling guilty. She had 2 young boys, right? She's trying to do it all. And so I said, look, the most important operating system is you. Right? And at the end of the day, none of this works unless you're feeling you're like 100% as much as you can. Now, yes, life goes through imbalances. But I'm like, you got to prioritize you and your family. And the work is always, like, work never stops. Work creates work. Like, turn it off on a Saturday or Sunday. We're going to be fine. You got a team, right? And so I called her name, Mary OS. So I just texted her literally 2 weeks ago saying, how's Mary OS doing? Right? Because we are operating systems. As an entrepreneur or founder, I cannot afford many bad days. I got to show up with the right energy, the right positive, and the right mindset. My team's going to feed off that. So I've always prioritized my health and my family and the things that make me operate at a very, very high level. I'm a bit of an ambivert. I need to close the door sometimes. I need silence. Sometimes I need to read. I need to re-energize. As much as I love people, I need to pack away from people. So understand what makes you operate at a very, very high level, what you need to do that, and prioritize. It needs to be a little bit selfish to be a selfless leader. And so that person was being too selfless. And thankfully, she is in a better place today. But she was like frazzled, mentally, physically, emotionally. So as a leader, it's your job to make sure that they, as an operating system, are working at the highest level possible.
And as we wrap up, this has been great. So I just wanted to thank you, Chuck. I only have one more question as we close, but this has been really helpful. I hope you got a lot out of this. I certainly did, and I have for years. Following you and your leadership style, what you built, and how you built it, like I said at the beginning. As we close, I just have one final question. Two Wolves, 5, 6, or 7.
Yes. So one of the luxuries of is we have courtside seats to the Wolves. What playoff seats in the past, right? Lakers series is great. I was at the game on Tuesday. Not a good game. But tonight's game I won't be there because I'm flying out. But I guess Wolves for sure. I'm going to say Wolves in 6. However, Game 7 at Target Center would be pretty darn cool. But I'm going Wolves for sure. I'm just. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Round of applause. Thank you.